Look at that beautiful, juicy pork meat.
Big thanks to Kamado Joe for sponsoring this episode.
I'm going to show you how to make the real lechon, Philippine roasted pig at home. Lechon is one of the most popular dishes you can make out of pig meat. Roasted pork over a charcoal fire with crazy good flavors. It has everything you're looking for, and I'm gonna show you how you can do it too. It all starts with a beautiful little piglet. Now, if you wanna be doing this at home, you gotta think about what you're cooking with. Are you cooking with an oven? Are you cooking with a barbecue? In my case, I'm gonna use a barbecue because that's the closest I can get to authentic lechon as they make it in the Philippines. I got a charcoal grill that's gonna create charcoal flavors on my pig. And that means I need to adjust my pig size to that grill. Now, I found this little piglet that weighs around 4 to 5 kilograms. And it has everything on it, just like an ordinary sized pig. And the first thing that I want to do is dry it up. It needs to be as dry as I can get it, especially the skin on the outside. All the moisture that's still on here needs to go. And it's very easy to do. I'm just going to take a paper towel and dry this little piglet off. And from now on, I'm not going to call it the piglet anymore. This is going to be my roasted lechon. The next step are the preparations of the meat. If I'll take a look on the inside, I can see the tenderloin sitting right there. I can see the ribs. But if we leave the piglet like this, it's going to be hard to eat afterwards because everything is just going to be one big mess. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to make an incision in between the meat and the ribs. I'm basically going to fillet the meat off. And be careful with this small piglet like this because you might easily cut through the skin. And I want to prevent that as much as possible. Just detach that meat. That's going to expose these beautiful ribs. Now we'll do the same for the other side. Just work your knife along that bone. Now everything is set up the way I want it to. Time to load it up with flavors. And the first step of adding flavor is soy sauce. I'm going to put some soy sauce on the inside of this piglet and sprinkle it on. Make sure that I get it everywhere. The soy sauce brings some sweetness. It brings an Asian style of flavors. I'm going to sprinkle in some garlic, some spring onion, some red chili peppers, some more garlic on top, and I'm going to stitch it up. I'm going to take some butcher's twine and always take double the length that you think that you're going to need. Now I recommend getting one of these. This is a meat needle, specifically designed to sew up your pork with. Now there's two ways to do this. Start from the back or start from the front. The easiest way to do it is start from the front. Normally if you order a piglet like this, the back's still connected like this. That will make it a lot easier. But in this case, I'm gonna start from the front, insert through the skin, and then make a little knot at the end. So it's nice and secure. And then continue the sewing process with about a centimeters in between. Go through and then go through the loop. And your grandma would be proud of your sewing skills. And continue sewing until the piglet is all the way sewn up. We got a beautiful seam on this piglet, absolutely gorgeous looking. And now it's time to secure it. Feet are gonna move forward and the other feet are gonna be tied in with the snout like this. And that means we gotta do some more tying magic. So I'm gonna take a little bit more butcher's twine and then these feet are going to be secured like this through the heel of the feet. That's the place to go. I can secure it. Now I'm going to go through the rib. There we go. That looks good. Now it's time to secure the front feet as well. And now we have our piglet secured with the smallest footprint possible. So I'm looking for the position that it's in, all the way from the front to the back. The easiest way is to go through the mouth. That skull is real hard, so you probably won't be able to get it through there. And out the back. And of course, we also need some soy sauce to go on the outside of this piglet. Get that color on, that famous lechon color. We're gonna repeat that soy sauce pouring all throughout the whole cook. That's absolutely perfect. This is ready to go on the grill, so let's fire up a Kamado Joe and start cooking. Set up with the rotisserie attachment, which means we got all this surface to be cooking on. I want to create two sections. the sections where the pig is rotating and the section where the charcoal is. So I don't want charcoal directly under that pig. When that fat's rendering down with a small piglet like this, a newborn, it has so much fat on it still. That's going to render down, it's going to catch fire, and we're going to get that dirty black smoke. So I'm going to put a tray in the center. I'm going to put a little bit of charcoal on both sides of that aluminum tray. And the beautiful thing about working with a ceramic grill like this is that you only need a little bit of charcoal to reach higher temperatures and cook this piglet. 2 tumbleweeds, 1 for each side. You stick it in. The charcoal's lit up, time to put our piglet in. There we go. Stick it in the joetisserie. And as you can see, the piglet is a little offset. We gotta fix that before we let it rotate. You gotta make sure it's completely centered so we don't end up with problems afterwards. So I'm just gonna move it to the center a little bit, squeeze it in, there we go. And then I can turn on the joetisserie. I want to be running this cook at a temperature of around 140 to 160, maximum 80 degrees, 180 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to close the lid. That way all of that heat is going to go in this ceramic and it's going to radiate and it's going to cook our piglet really, really fast. Make that skin extra crispy. But I got the top vent off so all of the hot air and the smoke can go out. But I gotta control my fire with the bottom vent. So I'm gonna close that a little bit so it's not gonna raise up to too high a temperature. But I'm staying close to this piglet. I'm gonna keep my eye on it. We need to put more flavor on it, so we're gonna work it, work it, work it. The temperature of the grill is running stable at around 150 degrees Celsius, exactly where I wanna have it. And I'm gonna look at the skin and I can see that it's drying out a little bit. It's getting detached from the meat. That's exactly what I'm looking for, but I want to keep coloring that beautiful pig. So I'm going to put on a little bit more soy sauce, keep it wet for now, rub it in, and as you can see that pig is still nowhere near hot enough yet because I can still touch it with my hand. So when this thing is done, I won't be able to touch it with my hand. It will be extremely hot on the outside, so it still has a while to go. Now that I got it nice and wet again, I'm also going to add a little bit of charcoal on the sides to keep my fire going and to make sure that I keep my temperature at that 150 degrees Celsius. Our little piggy has been roasting for 4 hours. I measured the core temperature and we're sitting at a temperature of around 80 degrees Celsius. And it's starting to look pretty promising because we got some part of it that became absolutely super soft. We got that nice dark roasted skin and look at that. We got a bubble underneath the skin, which means the fluids in this little piggy are starting to boil underneath that skin. The only problem with this little piggy is that it's been sitting in the barbecue and it's been accumulating moisture inside that barbecue. So the skin isn't crispy yet, but it's really well cooked through, which means getting crispiness is going to be very easy. So I loaded up a fire starter with charcoal and now I'm going to add it to the grill. Now we got a lot of heat in the grill and I can't walk away. Otherwise we might run into some problems. We got heat on that skin and I'm looking for it to just start popping, to just start crackling. And that's exactly what all this heat is going to do, but I gotta wait for it and I gotta stick around looking at that skin where it turns from nice and soft into, here you start seeing it bubbling up already. I'm looking for these little bubbles of crispiness where it starts to look like sugar turned into candy. The skin started crisping up like crazy, so it's time to take it off, and that's why you can never leave such a project unattended. It's got to come off, gonna go on the board, and it needs some time to rest. So let's get this skewer out, give it some time, and oh, the smell of this, the soy sauce just popping out, and let go. There we go. Rotisserie out and then just let it sit. And everything is so tender and that skin turned crispy. This is going to be so good. But now we got to give it some time I'm just gonna cut that wire right there, spread out the legs, and let it sit. There we go. And while the lechon is resting, I'm gonna start working on our side dish. You can't just make lechon and have nothing to go with it. So we're gonna do this. Step 1, fine chopped spring onions. Because that's gonna mix really well with the ingredients inside our lechon. We gotta work to make the recipe a whole. Let the ingredients work together. Some bell peppers going on. I'm using a classical Asian chef's knife. This is a hand-forged knife that makes chopping veggies fine very, very easy. And it's easier for a starting chef than using the classical chef's knife. Because all you have to do is just tap that knife on the board and you're done. 1 bell pepper chopped fine, 2 red chili peppers diced up, and 3 garlic cloves to finish it off. Of course, I'm going to be cooking on my Big Joe, so I'm going to remove the rotisserie. I'm going to take out that aluminum foil pan, center the charcoal, and when necessary, add a little bit more big block. Put the grill grates in at the lowest position, put my cast iron Scottsburg pan in. When my cast iron pan is hot, I'm putting in 100 milliliters of peanut oil. Then I'm going to fry my garlic and chili, and once they're cooked, I'm going to add the bell peppers and the spring onions. Make sure that's fully cooked as well, and it takes around maybe 4 to 5 minutes. Then add some white rice that you cooked the day before. And there you have it, nasi goreng. And after all the hard work, finally the moment is here that I get to cut into my lechon. Listen to that skin, crispy. I'm cutting the lechon all the way to the back, and then let's fold it open and take a look inside. Look at that beautiful, juicy pork meat. Now let's just tear off a little bit of that loin and the shoulder. Beautiful meat. Super juicy, super tender. I'm gonna take a piece of that skin, and there we go. The test. The skin of these piglets is magical. It's just so much thinner than a full-grown pig. It's thin, it's crispy, it is delicate, super tasty, and look at that. I can just pull a little bit of meat off. This is to die for. You can't get better lechon at home than this. Make it this way, you won't be disappointed. Of course, I'm gonna serve up my plate now, so Morrison can have a try too.
I've been waiting for this slow roasted lechon. And oh man, I'm excited. Here we go. That is so tender. That is so soft, silky soft, tender. Incredible. This is the best lechon I've ever had. I was never impressed by lechon. This is how it should be. I want this every day. Yes, the skin.
I was trying to keep this for myself.
Why?
Why? Because it's so freaking delicious.
But I always thought that you went into barbecue because of you like to make people happy. So where's the skin?
Yeah, but I like to make me happy first. You got to start with yourself. If
you're that kind of barbecue.
No. If you want to improve the world, start with yourself. That's what Michael Jackson said.
Oh yeah, okay.
If Michael Jackson said it, I'm an 80s child.
Wow.
Super soft skin, fried rice, pork. Come on, man. You gotta give this lechon recipe a thumbs up. And if you want to see the written version of it, Morrison just put it on the website. So the link is down below, PitmasterX.com. Check it out. Hope to see you guys next time. Until then,
Eetsmakelijk.
and keep on grilling.